Hey everyone, before we dive into this story, please hit that subscribe button to support my channel and stay updated with more content like this. My name is Elise, and I believe the darkest chapters of my life were behind me. But one crisp morning, as I savored coffee in my serene Seattle home, the doorbell's chime cut through my calm like a shard of glass. Expecting a package or perhaps a neighbor, I opened the door, only for my breath to catch. There stood two faces I'd hoped to never see again. My sister, Vivian, with her sly smirk, and my ex-husband, Nathan, his eyes gleaming with that familiar arrogance that still sent shivers down my spine. Years ago, they shattered my world. Vivian, my elder sister, was always the family's darling, winning over our parents with her charm while I lingered in her shadow. Nathan was my husband, my supposed forever, until I discovered him with Vivian. Their laughter rang through our apartment, a betrayal etched into my soul. The divorce was swift, but the wound lingered, a scar I thought had faded. Now, seeing them at my door, it was as if that scar tore open anew. "What do you want?" I asked, my voice unsteady, my fingers clutching the doorframe to hide my trembling. Vivian's chuckle was sharp, relishing my unease. "Oh, Elise, don't look so stunned. We just wanted to swing by, check on how you're faring." Her words oozed mockery, as if my life was a pitiful little experiment they pitied. Nathan leaned against the doorframe, his gaze roving over my home, my refuge, like he still had a right to it. "Yeah, scoping out the old spot. Looks cozy." Their words stung like a slap, each one a reminder of the life they'd stolen. I wanted to slam the door, to shout for them to leave, but my throat tightened with a mix of rage and dread. Why were they here after all these years? What scheme were they hatching now? Before I could muster a response, a familiar voice broke the tension, calm and firm. "Who's at the door, Elise?" It was my dad, stepping into the hall, his presence as surprising as it was steadying. He wasn't due until later, but there he was, his sturdy frame commanding the space, his eyes narrowing as he sized up Vivian and Nathan. Their smirks wavered, their confidence fracturing under his piercing stare. "What are you two doing here?" he demanded, his voice low, heavy with years of unspoken disappointment. Vivian shifted, her composure slipping. "We just wanted to wish Elise a happy new year," she said, her tone less assured. Nathan cleared his throat, trying to regain ground. "Yeah, just a quick stop, for family." My dad's gaze didn't waver. "Family," he said, his voice cold. "After everything, you show up now." The air shifted, their bravado crumbling. "Dad, it's okay," I said, my voice steadier now, bolstered by his presence. They were just leaving. Vivian's eyes met mine, a spark of defiance in them, but Nathan tugged her arm. "We'll catch you later, Elise," he said, his tone forced. They hurried away, as if my dad's disapproval was a burden too heavy to carry. As the door shut, I exhaled a breath I hadn't realized I'd held. My dad turned to me, concern etched on his face. "Elise, what was that about?" I shook my head, memories of their betrayal flooding back. "I don't know, Dad, but with Vivian and Nathan, it's never good." Growing up, Vivian was always the star, enchanting our parents, teachers, anyone in her orbit, while I, the quieter one, was left to clean up her messes. I recalled a summer when I was 10, scrimping every cent for a sketchbook I longed to own. Vivian borrowed my savings, vowing to repay me, but instead bought herself a dress, then sobbed to our parents that I'd misplaced the money. I was grounded for weeks, my dreams deferred, while she spun in her new outfit, basking in their praise. Nathan was no better. When we met, he was all charm and ambition, a tech developer with grand visions. I thought we were crafting a future together, but I missed the cracks, his late nights, his vague excuses, the way Vivian always lingered at our gatherings. Then came the night I walked in on them, their laughter a blade to my heart. They didn't even apologize. Vivian just shrugged, saying I was too absorbed in my little job to hold Nathan's interest. The divorce left me shattered, but I rebuilt, piece by piece, in this Seattle home I'd made my own. Now their return was a storm threatening my hard-won peace. I looked at my dad, his eyes searching mine. "They're scheming something," I said, my voice resolute, "and I won't let them hurt me again." For the first time in years, A spark of defiance ignited within me, a vow to stand my ground. After they left, the silence in my house felt heavy, as if the walls held their breath. My dad sat across from me at the kitchen table, his brow creased. Elise, what was that about? Why are they back? His voice was gentle yet firm, the kind that always made me feel safe, even when the world felt like it was crumbling. I sighed, the weight of old memories pressing down. I don't know, Dad, but with them, it's never just a visit. They're after something. My fingers traced the rim of my now cold coffee mug as memories flooded back. I couldn't shake the sense that their sudden appearance was a warning of trouble brewing. Growing up, Vivian had a knack for twisting situations to her favor. I remember that summer at 10, saving every dime for that sketchbook, a symbol of my dream to create something beautiful. Vivian, 2 years older and always a step ahead, asked to borrow my savings for something she claimed was vital. I trusted her, my big sister, my idol. But she spent it on a dress, then told our parents I'd lost the money. I can still see her fake tears as she hugged our mom while I was sent to my room, punished for being careless. That sketchbook stayed on the shelf, and Vivian shone as always. Dad listened as I recounted the memory, his face softening with regret. I never knew she did that, Elise. Your mom always said it was an accident. I nodded, the old pain still sharp. That was just the beginning, Dad. Vivian always knew how to play the innocent, and I was left holding the blame. He reached for my hand, his grip warm and steady. I'm sorry I didn't see it then, but you owe them nothing now. His words were a balm, but they couldn't erase the deeper truth. Vivian's manipulations ran deep, and even Dad didn't know the half of it. She was always the family's golden child, flawless in their eyes, while I was the quiet one, reliable, overlooked until needed to fix her messes. Then there was Nathan. When we married, I thought he was my forever. His quick smile and big dreams of tech success charmed me. We'd spend nights planning our future, envisioning a life of love and ambition. But slowly, things shifted. His late nights became routine, his answers vague. I ignored the doubts, blaming stress. Then came the evening I returned early from a Portland conference, eager to surprise him. The surprise was mine. I found Nathan and Vivian in our apartment, their laughter echoing as they sat too close, their hands brushing in a way that screamed betrayal. The confrontation was a blur of tears and accusations. Vivian didn't flinch, just shrugged and said, "You were too busy with your little job, Elise." Nathan needed someone who could match his pace. Nathan's words were colder. We were never right for each other. Vivian's different. Their betrayal wasn't just a fling. It was a calculated move to erase me from my own life. The divorce was quick, and I was left to rebuild, feeling foolish for ever trusting them. Now, sitting with my dad, those memories fueled a fire in me. Vivian and Nathan thought they could saunter back, stirring old pain for their gain. But I wasn't that naive woman anymore. I'd spent years rebuilding, pouring my heart into my graphic design work, creating a home that was mine alone. Their return wasn't just an annoyance, it was a challenge, and I was ready to meet it. "Dad," I said, my voice firm, "they're up to something, and I'm not letting them win." He nodded, his eyes proud but worried. "Just be careful, Elise. They're not worth your peace." That night, sleep eluded me, their smug faces haunting my thoughts. I kept replaying Vivian's laugh, Nathan's casual cruelty. But amid the anger, a plan took shape. I grabbed my phone and texted Nathan, "Meet me at the Pike Street coffee shop tomorrow. Noon. We need to talk." His reply was instant. "Sure, Elise. See you then." As I set the phone down, a strange calm settled over me. This wasn't just about confronting them. It was about reclaiming control. They'd underestimated me before, but this time I was ready to win. The next day, I walked into the Pike Street coffee shop, the buzz of conversation and the scent of roasted beans filling the air. My heart raced, but I kept my expression composed, my steps purposeful. Nathan sat at a corner table, his usual confidence tinged with unease, as if he sensed the ground shifting beneath him. "Elise, thanks for coming," he said, his smile thin, not reaching his eyes. "Wasn't sure you'd show." I slid into the seat across from him, my voice icy. Drop the act, Nathan. Why are you and Vivian here? He shifted, his fingers drumming the table, avoiding my gaze. Things haven't been great, Elise. After everything, we hit some rough spots. Vivian's pregnant, and we thought it was time to reconnect, for family. His words hit like a blow, a mix of shock and doubt twisting in my gut. Pregnant? Vivian? The idea felt off, like a piece jammed into the wrong puzzle. Pregnant, I said, raising an eyebrow. And you expect me to believe this is about family? What's the real reason, Nathan? He hesitated, his eyes darting away, and I knew I'd hit a nerve. It's about your dad's estate, he admitted, his voice low. We need stability, and his inheritance could help. There it was, the truth exposed. They weren't here for apologies or reconciliation. They wanted my dad's money, the savings he'd built for my future. You think you can just stroll back and claim what's mine? I snapped, my voice rising, drawing glances from nearby tables. After you cheated, after you left me with nothing. You think I owe you anything? My hands balled into fists, years of buried anger surging to the surface. Nathan leaned back, his face a mix of guilt and defiance. People can change, Elise. We've been through a lot. We just want a chance to start over. His words were empty, a rehearsed plea that didn't match the greed in his eyes. Before I could respond, my phone buzzed with a text from Vivian. Come to my place tonight. Alone. We need to talk. I looked at Nathan, my resolve hardening. Tell Vivian I'll be there, I said, standing. But make no mistake, this isn't a family reunion. This is me settling things. His face fell, a flicker of surprise crossing his features, but I didn't wait for a reply. I walked out, the cool Seattle air hitting my face, my mind racing with possibilities. Driving home, I thought about my dad's estate. He'd been a high school teacher, dedicating his life to his students and his savings to a modest legacy for me. It wasn't a fortune, but it was his life's work, meant to secure my future. The thought of Vivian and Nathan scheming to take it made my blood boil. They'd already stolen my trust, my marriage, my peace. I wouldn't let them take this too. I called my friend Clara, who'd navigated her own legal battles. You need a sharp lawyer, Elise, she said. Someone who can shut this down fast. She recommended Ms. Sheridan, a Seattle attorney known for her keen mind and no-nonsense approach. I booked a meeting for the next day, a spark of hope igniting. Vivian and Nathan thought they could manipulate me again, but I was done being their pawn. As evening fell, I stood in my living room, gazing at the sketches on my wall, designs I'd poured my heart into, proof of the life I'd built without them. I wasn't the broken woman they'd left behind. I was stronger, sharper, ready to fight. Vivian's text lingered in my mind, and I knew tonight's meeting would be pivotal. Whatever game they were playing, I was ready to outsmart them. That evening, I drove to San Francisco, the city lights blurring as my mind honed in on the confrontation ahead. Vivian's condo was in a sleek high-rise, all glass and chrome, a testament to her need to flaunt a success she couldn't sustain. My hands gripped the wheel tightly, my heart pounding with a mix of anger and resolve. I wasn't the naive girl who'd once fallen for her lies or Nathan's charm. Tonight, I was facing my past, and I wouldn't back down. Vivian opened the door, her smile as fake as the designer bag slung over her shoulder. Elise, so glad you came, she said, her tone dripping with condescension, as if I were a guest in her world. I stepped inside, ignoring the lavish decor. The marble counters, the oversized art pieces that screamed of a lifestyle she couldn't afford. Let's skip the pleasantries, Vivian, I said, my voice steady. Why am I here? She gestured to the couch, but I stayed standing, my eyes locked on hers. Sister to sister, she said, her tone syrupy, as if we were kids sharing secrets. With the baby coming, I thought we could move past old grudges. Her words were a calculated play, but I saw through them, just as I'd learned to spot her lies years ago. I laughed, the sound sharp even to my ears. You think I'll forget how you stole my husband and now want my dad's money? You're unbelievable. Her mask slipped, her eyes narrowing briefly before she regained her composure. It's not just about the money, Elise, she said, her voice softening, dripping with false sincerity. It's about family. Dad's will favors the first grandchild. My baby secures our future. Her mention of the will hit like a calculated strike, but I wasn't fooled. You're lying, Vivian, I said, stepping closer, my voice low and firm. You've always lied to get what you want. That pregnancy story, it's just another of your schemes. The air crackled with tension, her smirk returning like a challenge. You think you're so righteous, Elise, she said, her voice sharp. But you'll lose this fight. You always do. For a moment, I felt the old sting of her words, the way she'd always made me feel small. But I wasn't that girl anymore. I'd spent years rebuilding, finding strength in quiet moments of creation, in the life I'd carved out despite their betrayal. Not this time, I said, my voice unwavering. I'm done letting you manipulate me. You and Nathan will get nothing. I turned to leave, her smug laughter trailing me like a taunt. We'll see, Elise, she called. We'll see how long you can keep this up. I didn't look back, my steps steady as I walked to my car. As I drove away, the city lights fading behind me, a plan took shape. Vivian and Nathan were desperate, and desperation made them careless. I'd use that against them. Back in Seattle, I met with Ms. Sheridan, my lawyer. She was all business, her sharp eyes scanning the documents I'd brought about my dad's estate. They're bluffing about the grandchild clause, she said, her voice confident. There's no such provision in the will. But they're desperate. Nathan's business is failing, and they're drowning in debt. Her words confirmed my suspicions. Their return was a last-ditch effort to save themselves, and they thought I was an easy mark. I wasn't. Not anymore. Vivian's laughter echoed in my mind, but it only fueled my resolve. They'd underestimated me for the last time. The weeks that followed were a blur of legal meetings and sleepless nights, but I felt alive, driven by a fire I hadn't known I possessed. Miss Sheridan was relentless, uncovering a trail of Nathan's failed investments and unpaid loans. His tech startup, once his pride, had collapsed, leaving them with nothing but a facade of wealth. Their claim about the will is weak, Miss Sheridan said, her eyes sharp over her glasses. There's no grandchild clause. They're bluffing to pressure you. But Vivian and Nathan didn't back down easily. One evening, as I returned to my Seattle home, I found Vivian on my doorstep. Her usual arrogance was gone, replaced by a frantic edge. Her designer clothes were rumpled, her eyes red. Elise, please, she said, her voice trembling. I lied about the pregnancy. It was a stupid plan to get the inheritance. Nathan's business is gone. We're drowning. I need your help. Her confession should have shocked me, but it didn't. It was just another lie in their endless string of manipulations. I stared at her, feeling only cold resolve. You expect me to help you after everything? I said, my voice icy. You stole my husband, lied to our parents, and now you come begging because your schemes failed. You're delusional. She reached for my arm, desperation in her eyes. Please, Elise, I'm your sister. Remember how we used to be. I pulled away, her touch like a burn. The sister I knew died when you betrayed me, I said. You made your choices, Vivian. Live with them. I stepped inside, closing the door on her pleading face, the sound of it shutting like the final note in our broken story. The court hearing was the final battle. The courtroom was stark, the air thick with anticipation. Vivian and Nathan sat together, their faces pale, their unity a fragile act. Miss Sheridan was a force, dismantling their case with precision. She presented evidence of their financial ruin, their lies about the pregnancy, and the absence of any grandchild clause in my dad's will. The judge listened, his face unreadable as Vivian's composure cracked, her eyes darting nervously. During a recess, Vivian approached me, her voice low. Elise, please. I know I don't deserve it, but we're ruined. We have nothing. Her words, once capable of swaying me, now felt hollow. You brought this on yourselves, I said, my voice steady. You chose greed and deceit. Now you face the consequences. The judge's ruling was clear. The estate was mine, as my dad had intended. Vivian and Nathan left the courtroom, their heads bowed, their schemes in ruins. As I walked out into the Seattle rain, a weight lifted from my shoulders. This wasn't just about the money, it was about reclaiming my life, my dignity, my peace. In the days that followed, I focused on my future. My design work thrived. My home felt like a sanctuary again, and the scars from Vivian and Nathan began to fade, no longer defining me. One evening, sitting in my garden as the sunset painted the sky in shades of gold and pink, I felt a quiet strength. True victory wasn't in their downfall. It was in the peace I'd found, the resilience I'd built, the life I'd reclaimed. To everyone listening, thank you for joining me on this journey. Your support means the world. I hope my story reminds you that no matter how deep the betrayal, you have the strength to rise above it. Keep fighting for your peace. You're stronger than you know.